Hi everybody, how are you doing? So I hope you're doing well. So today we are going to work on a lesson of writing. We are going to see how we can write a biography. So biography is a piece of writing that tackles the life of a person. Okay, so try not to mix between the biography and autobiography. Okay, so a biography is when you talk about the life of another person, and autobiography, that's when you talk about your life. Okay, so of course here you deal with different, let's say, things in the life of the person. Okay, you may talk about a person's birth. Okay, as well, right? Okay, the childhood of the person, the right. You may talk about the education of the person. Okay, the profession. Okay, let's say, okay, sometimes tell death, okay, of the person, okay, if the person is dead. So let's get started. Okay, so the purpose of this let's say video is just to give you hints on how you can write, okay, a biography, and you can have a sample. If you'd like to read an example and have a sample, you can read it on the book Ticket to English, okay, first year baccalaureate, the page 119. So, right, let's get started. So, right, we can talk first about childhood of the person. Okay, when and where was he or she born? Okay, when was the person and where the person was born? Okay, so this is very important to mention in while you are writing an autobiography. Okay, so right, okay, you can use words or expressions like this. Okay, he was born on. Then you mention, okay, let's say the date. Okay, on June 22nd, for example, 1976, okay? Or he or she was born in, you can mention only the year, okay, 1976, right? He or she was born in London, in Tinrir, in Rabat, okay, and so on and so forth, okay? So that's it. Let's move to the next. You may talk about the family of the person, okay, and right, okay, you can talk about who, right, okay, were his or her family members. Okay, you may talk about, right, the father, his father or her father, the mother, the siblings, okay, brothers and sisters. Okay, so this is very important to mention in a biography of a person. So you can use again expressions like this one, like he or she had sisters and brothers. She was an only child, which means, okay, the only child of his or her family, okay, and so on and so forth. Okay, his or her father was, okay, for example, we may say his or her father was a pilot, for example, was a teacher. Okay, so her mother was a journalist, for example, okay, or a nurse. So let's move on, right? His or her parents were, right, again, right, okay, you can talk about, you can describe the person, the parents or the family of the person. Okay, here are more expressions that you can use. His or her father's name was, okay, and his or her mother's name was. You can talk about the names of the parents. Next, okay, you may talk about childhood, okay, as the picture here, let's say, shows, okay, how was the childhood of the person, okay, right, where did he or she live, okay, who did he or she live with. Okay, right, here are some expressions again that we can use. Okay, he or she lived in, for example, in Tinrir, right, in Rabat, okay, in London, right, okay, and so on. Okay, he or she spent his or her childhood in or with his or her, let's say, friends. Okay, you may talk here about friends. Okay, right? How was also the childhood? Was it a happy period? Okay, so you may also talk about right. Okay, let's say how. Okay, who brought up him, for example. Okay, which means who helped him, right? Okay, in his childhood. Okay, to grow up. Okay, right? So you can use the expression he or she was brought up by his or her aunt, for example. Then we can talk also about education, right? How the person was educated, right? How was the education of the person, if you'd like to say? Where did he or she study? Okay, you may talk about the school staff, right? Okay, the teachers, you may talk about teachers, the classmates, okay, the subjects, okay, that he or she had studied. Then, right, for example, he or she studied for history, English, okay, French, okay, and so on, okay. So he went to school, college, university, right, okay, and so on and so forth. Okay, then you may also, right, okay, she attended private school or public school, and so on. You can also talk about, right, he or she didn't go to school. That's if the person has never to school. You may also talk about this. You may indicate that, right? He or she was educated at home by his or her, okay, father, mother, right, family members probably, right? Then he wanted to be a journalist. Okay, you may talk about the dreams of the person, what the person dreamed to do or to have, right? Then next, he was interested in doing this or this. Okay, so what are the interests of the person, right? Next, you may talk also about the job, right, or the profession of the person. Okay, what's the person does or did, okay, as a job, okay, or let's say as a profession. What was his or her job? So, okay, you can see, for example, he or she was a famous writer, an English painter, okay, a teacher, a pilot, okay, a doctor, and so on, okay. He or she first worked as, okay, a cook, okay, in a restaurant, for example, okay. Then you may also write he or she became a journalist or a teacher, or okay. Then we can move also to the marriage. Okay, we can talk about, right, his marriage or her marriage, okay, of the person we are writing about. Okay, when did he or she got married? Okay, so when did he or she get married? Sorry, there's here a mistake. Okay, when did she get married, not got married? So here, okay, he or she married in, for example, okay, in 2005, okay, right? Or he married a specific person. He married Linda. He married Fatima. He married, okay, or she married Lesson or Ali or Mohammed, okay, in 2005, in 2010, okay, and so on. Okay, he or she got married to, right, okay, he got married to Linda in 2010. Then, okay, he or she never married. Okay, that's if the person, okay, stayed single. Then we can write, okay, say that he was single or she was single. Okay, she has never got married, or she never married. Then we can talk also about the achievements of the person. Okay, what the person let's say the success, okay, that the person has achieved in his or her life, right? So what are his or her achievements then? Okay, for example, we can say something of the sort: he or she became famous in, right? Okay, you mentioned here the let's say in what is the felt. Okay, he was, right, or she became famous in sport, okay, in for example taekwondo or karate or playing football and so on and so forth, okay, because, right, of this and this, okay. Then he or she wrote, okay, composed, painted, discovered, invented, created, became, won, acted in, okay. Here you tell us exactly what the person excelled in. Then you can talk about the death of that person, but that's here if the person is dead, of course. So you can talk about the, let's say, when the person, okay, when and how did he or she die. So you can say, for example, he or she died on here the let's say the date, okay, on May, right? Okay, for example, the 31st, 1845, in the year 1845. Okay, that's of course we are talking about very old people. Okay, so then you can also indicate he or she died, okay, of cancer. You can mention also the reason of death, a heart attack, old age, a disease, okay, so and so on and so forth, okay. So he or she committed suicide, okay, or he or she was murdered, assassinated, right? If the person was killed by another person. He or she died in a car accident, okay, or in a plane crash. These are all reasons, okay, right, okay, of the death of the person. He died at the age of, right, you can tell us about the age of the person when he died, how old the person was at that time. He was, right, you tell us again the how old the person was. So we come to the end, right? A big thank you, right, from me to you. Thanks for following, right? Hope my video, okay, well, help you to start writing, okay. I would be very happy. It's a great pleasure for me to receive your pieces of writing for correction, okay. I may respond, and by the way, I'm still waiting for you to join the Microsoft Teams, okay. So take care to yourselves.